Main task to preliminary, I looked back over the difference in what I did now to back then for preparation. When given our brief for our preliminary task, we quickly came up with a narrative that included shot reverse shot, 180-degree rule, match on action, and walking across a room. We did not plan in detail and quickly designated character roles. We came up with a brief script which I only presented through text in a Tumblr post. Furthermore, a props list was not really discussed and neither was our location, hence why our mosaic on scene and background does not work well with our police detective narrative. It also became increasingly difficult to film as our location was in a very tight space. However, I did use a website through bubble.us to create a mind map which gave me some organisation to the group. The storyboard was also not as detailed as it could have been, as it was hand-drawn on post-it notes. Feedback, which I recorded through picplaypost, allowed me to see what I could improve and make more effective for future use. For example, the music we used was deemed inappropriate for our theme.
How you feeling?
Furthermore, it was commented that Finn loses his character, but as we had a more slow and laid-back approach, we were unsuccessful in reshooting it. On the other hand, I believe we successfully used our continuity editing skills to piece together an effective preliminary task that abided by the strict format we were given. To see our progression, feedback and experience to improve all aspects of my main task, and so when given the brief for our main task, a lot more time and effort went into planning. I analysed a main task thoroughly, picking out where good continuity editing was used and where I could do similar things with my film. Additionally to this, I looked at how effectively were the titles used and placed. I displayed all of this information using the app Photogrid, combining post-it notes and pictures into a video. Furthermore, I did a lot more research into the background of horror and thriller films. For example, I made a mood board and video on Animoto, all on the basis of the typical codes and conventions of a horror/thriller film. This helped me to identify what to include when making my own. I also used Yahoo Answers and other internet resources as additional help. This contrasts massively with the brief, if any, research I put into my preliminary task. In the preliminary task, I only used a brief mind map to plan, whereas in my main task, I explored online mind maps in full detail and used this resource to include every detail, like props, characters, film titles, locations. This varied from our preliminary task, as our planning allowed us to choose an appropriate location with appropriate mosaic on scene, making our film much more effective. When looking into titles and production logos, we designed a questionnaire for our peers. This questionnaire gave them different options on titles and production logos/names. We then gave a brief synopsis of our film and asked which they preferred and which was the most appropriate considering our narrative. Unlike the preliminary task, feedback was vital to us and key in helping our film opening be most effective. Our preliminary did not have a production logo at all. I continuously used more resources to present my information and ensure it was presented in a media-enriched way, for example, the difference in storyboards. Additionally, we took the previous feedback on our music not fitting the brief and ensured that this was not the case this time round. I looked through royalty-free music on YouTube to find the perfect piece, called Creeping in the Woods. In our main task, thought even went into the typography we used. We found a special font that fit our theme, called GFGFG. Overall, we used a wider variety of apps, resources, and was better prepared due to the lack of organisation in the preliminary task. Our preliminary task still went exceptionally well. However, due to the vast research in the main task, our final product was something we were very pleased with. I used all